So first, a little bit about, who we are. I work for the South Carolina Council on Competitiveness. We go by SC Competes. And we are a nonprofit, and we work to drive economic growth throughout the entire state in some of our largest and emerging sectors. So we focus on aerospace, logistics, and IT and cybersecurity. And we interweave education throughout all of those. I focus on technology and cybersecurity. And really just the ultimate goal for what we're doing there is we want to uplift the tech sector so everyone is aware of how large and booming our tech sector is throughout the state. There are so many opportunities that many people aren't aware of in the technology sector. So a big part of what we're doing through SC Competes is just giving a megaphone to the tech sector. So everyone from students like you in the room right now to companies that may want to land here to job opportunities, all are aware of what's happening here. So in the large spectrum of what SC Competes does daily is kind of what I mentioned a moment before. We support industry clusters. So if you're not sure what clusters mean, clusters are any of your large sectors of industry that might be booming in your state. So many of you are aware of Boeing and aerospace being here, logistics, we have the SC port, technology really interweaves through all of those. So we consider those some of our largest sectors and clusters. So we want to make sure we support each one of those sectors by giving industry voice at the table. Actionable research. So when you hear X amount of companies are in the state in technology, or you hear news stories that are happening, or what kind of jobs are emerging, these are the things that we like to work through what we call economic impact reports. So everyone is really understanding what is happening in these sectors. So we work with higher education and industry leaders, government, commerce, to be able to put these research programs together. And then today is a great example of where we might sit in education and workforce development. We're always looking to make sure that we are pipelining talent to be able to take the jobs that are hot and emerging in South Carolina, so we have a robust ecosystem. So a big part of what I like to do is talk about what's going on in technology, because sometimes it's kind of hard to know what's happening in the technology sector. This is a little bit of a touch piece on everything that we're working on. You'll see SC Tech is my world. We also have South Carolina Women in Tech, and that is a new initiative where we're starting groups across the entire state to connect with different women to talk about what it's like to be working in technology. And we're excited that we'll be launching new chapters in Greenville, in Myrtle Beach, Beaufort, Columbia, and supporting Charleston's existing. So it's definitely a program to keep an eye out on. If you would like to kind of connect with mentorships, that's some of the work that we'll be doing kind of going in the future. And Palmetto AI Corridor is really just for us to be able to get ahead of what's happening in AI, so then we can bring that knowledge back to students, companies, government, so everyone is understanding what we need from education to pipeline to jobs to fill what's happening next in AI. So a little bit more about SC Tech, and I kind of like to use this time to talk about my kind of journey in work, because technology can have such a different path for everybody. I don't know who is listening right now and is thinking about wanting to be a software developer or work in AI or cyber and not necessarily understanding what are all the job opportunities that happen there. My story is kind of an interesting piece. I started as I was on air and radio for years. I also handled all their promotional events, concerts, etc. And I kind of thought that was going to be what I did for a long time. And to show my age, I was working this job when the website boom happened. So around 2000 to 2004, every single restaurant, program, radio station wanted websites. And so I kind of got dumped on me. Hey, we need 4 websites and we need them by the end of the year. Can you learn how to create them? So I went from being a event planner, on-air radio host, to learning how to code. And so that changed my trajectory. Took that information of website development, and was able to take that to, if you're familiar with Palmetto Moon, I ended up working in retail for years and launched their e-commerce website and launched the marketing program for that across the state and in other states. And then took that opportunity into economic development and actually worked to develop websites for some economic development group in Charleston, and then also started to recruit tech companies with my knowledge here to South Carolina, which then led me to SC Tech, where I now don't get to use my digital background as much, but now I get to work every day in the technology sector and work with all aspects of technology. And I like to tell that story because of two reasons. One, you never know how your path is going to change in any job that you have. You can start with one thing and end up very, very differently. And two, technology has it can really intertwines into every single type of job. So digital marketing, I not necessarily had to full on code, but I learned some basics of coding and then got to do a lot of graphic design. Marketing is a big piece of tech that sometimes people don't think about. So, and I'll talk about a little bit later, but I'm bringing that knowledge to kind of creating SC Tech and putting it really on a spotlight to people to understand the really cool things that are happening in technology in South Carolina right now. And because of all of these things that are happening, we are able to have more and more job opportunities for the people that are on this webinar to be able to plug into. So really, the reason I put these stats on here is because we want more and more people to be able to talk about the rankings that South Carolina gets in technology, the development and growth. So I share these everywhere I go so people can talk about them and see. We tend to be able to talk about hospitality in South Carolina and tourism, aerospace and automotive, but we don't always talk about the technology that's happening in all those sectors as its own kind of behemoth of a sector itself. So here we are going back to one of our sectors or tracks that we do is research. We did a 2020 impact study, and we will be doing another one this year, and doing some basic kind of background. Not a lot has completely changed, even though it's a few years off. So I wanted to share this information about the tech sector. One of its biggest pluses is that it has a huge economic impact and it's high-paying jobs. And there are scattered throughout the entire state when you see where the employment and opportunities are. There's definitely some peaks in the Charleston area. I think many of you on this call may be in the Greenville area. I will say the one stat that has changed since 2020 to now is the upstate number is much higher than 1.9. We're expecting to see that closer, much closer to anywhere from the 6 to even 10%. That's how much growth has happened in the last 4 years in technology in the Greenville area. So really excited to see those stats come out. But this really just kind of gives you the general idea of how big our sector is. And again, people might not always be telling you about those opportunities. And then really what you might really want to be caring about right now as you're taking on this webinar is what jobs exist and are happening in South Carolina in technology. And this really is just kind of a sampling. The chart on the left is up to date. It's a 2023 update from CompTIA, which if you're not familiar with CompTIA, it's a nationwide data and research organization that really pushes out almost daily information about the technology sector nationwide and state by state. So some of the, obviously everyone is aware of software developers. That's going to be your number one job in any type of technology that you can go into. And you're going to come out of it with a job in South Carolina and really anywhere in the country. Data science is fast growing as a need. And that data science is really going to fit into the new kind of emerging technologies of quantum and AI. If you're not familiar with quantum or AI and you have an interest in technology, I definitely highly recommend that you start looking into learning more about those two things and how they will affect what's next in technology. And then on the right-hand side, we see everything from telecommunications to electrical equipment manufacturing. That really is important to see that technology jobs are not just software developers. technology jobs really touch every single sector, from healthcare to hospitality to automotive to aerospace. And there are so many opportunities. So don't ever think that because maybe I don't love to code, or that is, math even isn't your necessarily favorite thing on the planet, doesn't mean you can't go into a technology job. So speaking of, diversity of opportunities in technology, I'd like to kind of share this chart. This is something that our team is working on internally to continue to grow. And this is really showing everybody some of the biggest buckets in what technology jobs are, what falls under each one of these buckets, and then how would you potentially get these jobs through your education pipeline? What are the durable skills versus the day-to-day kind of education skills? And then what the median salary is. So if my little box over here is covering the median salary, you can move it over so you can see that it's almost 80,000. Which is one of the higher paying job sectors in South Carolina. So definitely something to kind of pay attention to for that opportunity of pay. But looking at the chart here, you'll see everything from the infrastructure to professional support. And that really does show that if you aren't necessarily a coder or don't want to do the mathematics part of things, there's professional support. There's development, which also can include graphic design. And those are just as needed skills and jobs in South Carolina, especially sales and project management. These jobs are even all over the country. We obviously want you to stay in South Carolina, but that is definitely something to look at. I also use this reference when someone says they think they want to go into healthcare, but they don't like blood. That's kind of the same way you can look at this, right? There's technology jobs in healthcare, there's sales jobs in healthcare. So many opportunities to make sure that we don't ever get one track mind on anything and how the pathways or pipelines can happen. And then lastly, the bottom is just seeing the diversity of opportunities to get to having a full-time job in technology. Yes, many may require a 4-year degree when it comes to the engineering and potentially cybersecurity pieces, but some may only actually need certificates, 2-year degrees, or online courses. So it really just kind of matters how quickly you would like to get into the opportunity, where you would like to take your path. 4-year schools are not for everybody, nor should they be for everybody. I feel strongly that you can take a coding school if that's the fit for you and your family and your needs, and get some opportunities to step in technology just as much as a 2-year, 4-year, or even going into the military, where you have a lot of opportunities to come out of the military and step into some of these, especially cybersecurity jobs. So something definitely to think about, how your path could get you to one of these opportunities. And I really wanted to just kind of share some of the companies. One of the things I always try to recommend to classes when I speak to them, or even when I'm speaking to adults that are looking to change their careers, is to really be aware of what type of companies are in your own backyard and who is hiring and what type of jobs. Just this morning, I purposely went and looked online to see how many job openings there were in data science and software development, engineering, and there were hundreds throughout the entire state. Hundreds of jobs from junior opportunities, mid-level to senior. So it was really great to see that there was a diversity of opportunities starting today in the things I'm talking about. And a lot of those actually were with some of the companies that I mentioned here. If you are not familiar with NIWC and you're thinking of going into cybersecurity or technology, this is definitely one of the industries that you should be aware of. NIWC is the Naval Information Warfare Center. And the fact that they are in Charleston, South Carolina is one of the reasons we are able to have such a large and robust cybersecurity and defense sector. Really, what the heart of what NIWC does is they protect the warfighter through technology. So if you're wanting to kind of go into a civilian job, but support the military and support the warfighter, this is the direction you could go and do really good for your country while also doing cybersecurity and technology. And some of the other companies I just wanted to mention was Siemens is one of the largest companies in healthcare technology in the country. And a lot of people aren't aware they have a base in South Carolina. They're actively hiring technology for healthcare programs and products. Boeing, many people may not know that they have actually a large tech group in their North Charleston facility. So they're doing a lot of research and technology in South Carolina. So another opportunity to step into. And then I mentioned Adapt Forward, which is a smaller company in Charleston, Palmetto Technology Group, a smaller company in Greenville. Delta Bravo is doing really cool work in AI in the Rock Hill area. And the reason I bring all those up is, yes, there are these large behemoth companies for opportunities, but there are also a lot of small companies that will give you really great understanding out of college, where you can learn and develop and grow. So don't ever not think about looking for the smaller companies. Sometimes they get lost in the job searches, but they're doing really cool work in cyber and technology and AI and quantum. So be sure when you're looking to check out all of the companies. If you don't know the name, doesn't mean they aren't doing something really cool. So speaking towards kind of understanding who is in your own state and who could potentially give you job opportunities, the South Carolina Council on Competitiveness launched SCAN just this last week. We're really excited. It is a map of assets throughout South Carolina on our top sectors. So aerospace, automotive, technology, cybersecurity, even EV. And we are also excited that we'll be adding in education program and training programs across South Carolina soon. So this is a fantastic way for you to go in and see who all is in your own backyard. If you decide you want to try to do an apprenticeship or an internship, if you want to look for code camps, AI classes, we're hoping that these are all the type of things that will eventually be in this asset map. Currently, it is just companies, but I still recommend that you check it out and use it to learn who is here. To my point earlier, you can see the huge cluster that is up in the upstate area of companies. So that's including aerospace, logistics, technology. But there are so many opportunities happening in that area. Sumter is rapidly growing its footprint when it comes to manufacturing technology and innovation, along with some cyber companies there because of Shaw Air Force Base. So our military presence really allows us to grow our cybersecurity presence. They're kind of interchangeable. And I highly recommend just being aware of opportunities. I think I've said that about 100 times. I know it, but it's my main takeaway, to just understand that South Carolina has a pipeline for you. You just might have to kind of look for it, talk to different people doing different things that you might not know exist out there. Perfect example is the NIWC, supporting cybersecurity for the defense of our nation, and the warfighter that is out there protecting us is a phenomenal job you can have right here in South Carolina. If military isn't your jam, then obviously going down the cybersecurity world of keeping everybody safe from emails, from phishing, to not getting hacked. There's so many interesting things that you can do to development of artwork and be a creative through AI. So I just highly recommend you check it out.